I'm here with Michael Sarir from Lincoln's tomb, and here is where Lincoln is buried, along with his wife and 3 children.
The tomb was originally built with donations. A group of the president's friends felt he deserved a fitting tribute, so they raised $171,000 to build the tomb originally. So before this tomb was completed, the original vault's still at the base of the hill in the back, and Willie and the president were put there on May 4th of 1865, and they were there until December of 1865. At that point, they were transferred halfway up the hill to a temporary tomb, and then Eddie, the son who had been brought from downtown Hutchinson Cemetery, joined his father and brother. They remained at that temporary tomb until September of 1871. The permanent tomb was started in 1869 and completed in 1874, but the burial chamber was completed in 1871. So at that point, the family was moved to this tomb, and the second tomb was dismantled. This tomb here has been the only resting place for Tad and Mary. The others had been moved to the tomb from other spots. Now this is a replica of an actual bust that is in the Capitol building. If you look real close, it says Gutzen-Borglum 1908. This was done about 20 years before Gutzen-Borglum started Mount Rushmore. It became more popular to rub the nose during the World War II time. A lot of men going to war, rub the nose for luck. So now we have close to 300,000 school children a year to come and rub the nose for luck, and as you can see, it must work. A lot of people do it. So. The Servius Tullius stone used to be the doorway when the public had access to the obelisk. You could go inside to the spiral staircase. Servius Tullius was an early king of Rome, and the Roman citizens felt that he was similar to Mr. Lincoln and he had freed the slaves. They sent this 2500 century part of the wall around ancient Rome, and then unfortunately later on there was another coincidence. Servius Tullius was also assassinated. The statues were made by Larkin Mead, and by a strange coincidence, he was also the gentleman that won the contest for the design of the tomb, but he was a sculptor by trade, so the organization had to hire an architect. But Mr. Mead made the statue of the president. The statue of the president, he is holding a copy of the Emancipation Proclamation in his left hand, and he is standing on the Constitution to show his constitutional authority to use the 4 military branches here to bring the wayward sisters, as they call the southern states, back into the family of the United States.
We're going to the museum.
The museum.
The Lincoln Museum is
in Springfield, Illinois. In each little section in the museum, the recreation of Lincoln was amazing.
We're coming up to the Abraham Lincoln Presidential and Library and Museum, which are really the crown jewels of our Springfield tourism. We have some of the best Lincoln sites in the world, with his home, the only home he ever owned, and Lincoln's tomb, as well as the old state capitol where he delivered his House Divided speech. I'm here with Sandy Carlson at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum.
Well, welcome to the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum. It's a wonderful place. It's a place that everyone can have fun and enjoy and learn so much about President Lincoln. We have 2 journeys over here. We have Journey 1. Journey 1 starts through the log cabin. You enter the log cabin and you learn about Abraham Lincoln's early years, and it takes you up to where he's elected president. Journey 2 begins at the White House. You take your journey through the presidential years of Abraham Lincoln. You come out where he is laying in state. We have 2 theaters. The Union Theater is about a 16-minute film of his life. Our second theater is called Ghosts of the Library. Our living history comes alive through the library. We also have the Treasury Gallery and the Illinois Gallery.
also in Springfield, Illinois, they got another Bunyan-type statue, but he's holding an American flag.
Oh,
where he used to hold a muffler.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
But
telling us that. Yeah.
the muffler soot went away, or
yeah.
lost it in a windstorm.
Right. And they had it now. It's in front of a couple of auto mechanic places.
Yes, that's who owns it. They say.
Yeah. Auto
Auto
mechanic. Yep.
Now, Hotel 66, the this is where we stayed. Now this is a museum with and a hotel in it. It's a museum, Route 66 museum and hotel.
And a hotel.
And a restaurant. And there's, pretty much it's self-contained.
Yeah.
We're at the Route 66 Hotel, enjoying their hospitality and their museum. They have a wonderful museum here, and we're going to meet the owner, and they're going to explain to us their displays. We're in a Route 66 Hotel in Springfield, Illinois, talking to Frank. Frank is the owner of this establishment.
This particular building was the first Holiday Inn built on Route 66. The original part of Route 66 is still in existence in the north wing. Later on, the owners tore the restaurant part down and added on the other sections that were here. And then they turned it over to a remodel, and then the people that bought out from the family, the parents had died and the kids didn't want to run it, so they rented as a ramada for 15, 18 years, and then the new owners went bankrupt. We bought it through the bank. We come up with the Route 66 ideal. These two cars here belong to a gentleman that lives here in Springfield, Illinois. He had a bar and a parts store, and these were stored on the second story of a wood building. He had an old wooden elevator with a hand-pulled rope, and there was like 36 cars and a 1937 Harley-Davidson motorcycle. That's a 1931 Ford A300. These are in the exact shape how they come out of the attic. All of this backdrop here was painted by my niece, Amy. She painted the Route 66 logo in the bottom of the swimming pool.
What's the name of this restaurant you're at?
This is the Yesterday's Restaurant, we call it, and the Filling Station Bar and Grill. We're here in Yesterday's Restaurant with our chef, Steve. He's going to explain some of the 3 dishes that are our specialties here at the Route 66 Hotel and Conference Center.
Right here we have our broasted chicken. It is like a fried chicken, but it's cooked in a pressure fryer with canola oil, so it's much healthier for you than regular fried chicken. And right here we have our walleye. Walleye is a northern fish. It's kind of like a pike. What these are is fillets. We take them and we bread them in a southern breading, which is like a cornmeal kind of breading. We fry them. It takes just about a couple minutes for them to fry up. It's a really juicy, light fish. It doesn't have a heavy taste to it at all. And then right here is a Springfield legendary dish, the horseshoe. It's toasted bread and then hamburgers covered in cheese sauce and French fries.
This is one of our mini suite jacuzzi suites set up for either long-term stay. This room is designed for comfort and for the people with a little more luxury than wanting just a regular room. So we try to accommodate everybody that we can. This is my wife's mother and her aunt. Now her mother is dead, but her aunt is still alive. This is a 1956 Harley Davidson. The old Ford radiator here was given to us by an old gentleman here in the neighborhood. This display case is a bunch of paraphernalia from the old days, some of it to do with the roads and Route 66, some of it to do with just things while we were kids. Porky Pig was an advertisement for a Warner Brothers movie. On this display window we have on one side a collection of all different types of Coca-Cola delivery truck. And over on the right-hand side is a picture of Mickey Mouse at the halfway point on Route 66 at Adrian, Texas. Information is accurate down there about the mileage in the town. The left-hand side of a funny car, it's driven by a guy named Tim Wilkerson. When they were testing this car, this shell blew off and the right-hand side was all torn up. They were going to destroy it. Dick Levi cut it in half and offered to display it here on my wall. We're standing outside the north end of our hotel, and you'll notice we have a right-of-way marker, original one put in Route 66 back in 1926 when the road ran across this grass area here before they made the alignment the other direction.
Springfield has a
Drive-in theater.
The old-fashioned kind.
Yeah.
Had two screens.
2 screens, that's right. And they have the old-fashioned popcorn, and for people like me, they also have the seasonings. It's like going back in time.
It is.
I'm Bob Colcourse. I'm here at the Route 66 Twin Drive-In. Been the projectionist here since 2001. Originally opened as Green Meadows Twin Drive-In years ago. The company was out of St. Louis. The first day that we opened, we had a tornado in the area, and the walls and projection room was kind of expanding back and forth. Also, a few years later, we ended up having lightning hit the speaker post out there, and lightning came up through the speaker lines in the projection booth, and lightning bolts were going across the room through the amplifier to the rectifiers for our lamp houses and that. So that was kind of an amusing little thing that we had.
Remember, there was the brick road, the original highway, and it was made out of placed bricks, like cobblestone.
Cobblestone, yeah.
But not cobblestone, it's brick. It's like paving stone.
Yep.
You want to see the real road and travel down the original road like our ancestors have.
Yeah.
This is one of the best examples of the different construction technologies that were employed in the different alignments of Illinois Route 66. We're on one of the older alignments, the Route 4 1926 to 1930 alignment, and what we have here is hand-laid brick. This was one of the original sections, and today the trade-off is between hand-laid brick surface, which is more difficult to maintain. If it were up to the road department, they might choose to pave it over, and the Route 66 advocates would not want to see that happen at all. It's still actually in very good shape and is used by a number of people. Here we have the history and the future all here in one 1.5 mile stretch.
Remember, there was the brick road, the original highway. We traveled a lot of road.
A lot of road.
This is the place
This
to
is
be.
the place to
You
be.
can't miss this. You'll never do it traveling a highway. That's
No.
for sure. You travel the highway, you miss all this stuff.
Great.
Girard was where we went to Doc Soda Fountain.
That's right. They have such a unique soda fountain. It's a step back in time. And then they had the pharmacy.
They have a museum in there.
That's
the
right.
museum is an old pharmacy museum because that's what that building used to be prior, was a pharmacy.
Right.
We're in Girard right now in front of Doc Soda Fountain, and we're talking to Bob and Renee, and they're the owners. How long have you been in business here?
We've actually had the soda fountain open for 3 years.
And before that?
Before that, it changed hands several times, and before that, it was Deck's Drug Store.
Actually, this store has been in business since
1884. It belonged to Bob and Bill Deck. It was in their family for 3 generations. But there were 2 guys that never did get married, and as a result, there was no 4th generation to pass it on to, so I guess in effect, we kind of became the 4th generation. On the inside of the store, we do have the Coke theme. Many of our Coke signs are reproductions, but we do have some original signs. The big sign you see up there was actually put up in 1951. Coca-Cola used to have decorators that would go around to the various stores. They would actually help decorate the stores. We'd have some of the original decoration here in Doc's Soda Fountain. I also like to introduce to you my good friend Bob Deck. He is a part of the family that had owned the store since 1884 when their grandpa purchased it.
This store was in our family for 117 years. Our grandfather, L.C. Deck, bought the drugstore. It was an existing business at the time. We have some interesting items here in this showcase that shows how things used to be made. A pill roller here. Pharmacists used to be called pill rollers, and this is how they made their pills on this roller here. They would roll them sort of like a dough back and forth, forming pipes, and then take it down and cut it into the desired size and roll it with your fingers and set them up to dry. We do have pictures of our family. This is a picture of our grandparents, our immediate family. This is a picture of how the store looked when Bill, my brother, and myself, when we had the store. This is a picture of what the store looked like around the turn of the century, when our grandfather had it. And this is a picture of the interior about the same time. Here you will find an electric shock machine. This is for early shock machine for nervous disorders, and it still is effective today. If anybody wants to try it, we allow them to hang on to these tubes while I turn the crank and create this electricity which runs through their body. And some people are willing to try it. Others say no, I don't want to have anything to do with that. So
this is Vincent. Okay.
Bob and Bob, I would just like to say thanks a lot for the tour of your facility and your hospitality. And of course I had some food here at the fountain, and it was absolutely delicious. So it's a good place to stop and have a little something to eat on your way to to Santa Monica.
Well, next town that we're going into is...
Carlinville, after a long journey.
Yes.
Collinville is proud of their courthouse. That's in that town on Route 66. That's their attraction. We're interviewing Flory, and she's going to tell us a little about the $1 Million Courthouse. That's what it's called?
Yep, it's called the $1 Million Courthouse because it was supposed to cost $1 million to build it, but it actually cost $1.3 million when all was said and done. It was actually the back of the courthouse. The front of the courthouse is on the other side. At the time that the courthouse was built, Macoupin Creek ran alongside of there, and this was the only hard road throughout, you know, the mother road, Route 66 it came to be, anyhow throughout the whole county. The last time that this cannon was fired was in 1933. They fired it every year to ring in the 4th of July and like New Year's. The courthouse is 191 feet to the top of the weather vane on the flagpole. This is the basement of the courthouse. All of these marble tiles are the exact marble tiles that were brought here when the courthouse was built. Each one of these marble tiles is 5 inches thick. Each door inside this courthouse weighs 1 ton. And from the time that this courthouse was built until now, not a single door has moved off the hinges or failed to shut.
The courthouse is beautiful, the cannon.
It's old.
All of it, huh?
And they give you a big story. Ask somebody to tell you a story, and they'll tell you how it was over budget, like everything else in America.
Yeah, in America.
We went to the old county jail, which is erected in 1869.
These are very small on the side, and you got a bed.
This is our 1869 Macoupin County Jail. It was completed in 1869, and it was drawn up by E.E. Meyer, who also was the architect for the courthouse. We call it our cannonball style jail because in between each seam there's a cannonball, making it escape proof. We are in one of the cell blocks to the jail. This jail was made to house 33 prisoners, and this is made so that one jailer can take care of all the functions. You notice the cages put on the lights because you can walk all the way around this cell block. The prisoners would knock out the lights in the back so that they could use something and get a hold of the jailer. And so they ended up putting cages on there.
Then we went
through the town.
And we spoke to Oliver. Remember Oliver?
Yes.
This is Ollie Schwallenstecker with the Route 66 Association of Illinois. This is the original Ariston restaurant that now is located in Litchfield, Illinois. In 1926, when Route 66 came through Carlinville, Pete Adams ran a restaurant here, and it was a very good location because both the Blue Goose and the Greyhound bus line stopped on this corner. But when Route 66 moved from Carlinville over to Litchfield, Nick's business really went downhill. So he built a new restaurant over at Litchfield, the Ariston, which is still in operation and very popular. This is the only square in Illinois where Route 66 goes completely around the square. This is a original brick pavement, one of 2 that exist yet in Illinois, the other being at Auburn, Illinois.
We are standing in Standard Edition, in the heart of Standard Edition in Carlinville, and this is a 9-block area with 152 homes, the largest collection of Sears catalog homes in the world. My house, as you can see behind us, is the Roseberry model, circa 1918. This house is a Carlin model, which was named after Carlinville by Sears because in honor of their $1 million order.
Sears homes. Now, that's not any big Route 66 attraction, but it's something that they're proud of. The Deerfield Loop, these are like little detours that are actually Route 66, because Route 66 never really followed a straight route originally. And so when they made alignment, they sort of went straight instead of these little loops. So, but the loops are interesting because they're part of Route 66. So we took all the loops. Well, some of the loops you can't take because they're closed.
Right.
You find that a bridge, little section of Deerfield Loop is closed because the bridge is unstable.
Old 1920 bridge. Road is not closed. And that's the old Route 66 extension, which is now closed to vehicle traffic. Goes all the way up.
And the road is kind of crooked. And so you could take it, I mean, if you really wanna, you could like go past the barricade and you could take it, but if I had my pickup truck four-wheel drive job, I would do it.
He would have done it.
We went to the original Ariston.
No, we went to the next Ariston.
Well,
We've
that's
just
right,
been at the
we went to the
original.
Ariston
But
where
there
it
is
moved
a
to.
fight. There is a fight. You
Where the
remember?
first Route 66
Where
is.
the first Ariston was.
During the years, has this place been remodeled?
Well, actually, since 1935, what you see here, the booths, the back bar, the tables, chairs, are all original. The original chairs in the restaurant, when opened in 1935, were bentwoods. The chairs you see here are, Dad bought these in 1938. We put an addition on in 1976. That's when 55 came through and there was a service station next door to us, and I was able to acquire that property, and I put an addition onto the restaurant, an additional 90 seats on the north side of the building.
Back in the day, you were servicing the customers from Vic Schilling?
Vic Schilling. Now, Vic came along afterwards because that spot was where the restaurant was that my father had leased. Vic came along several years after that, and he was a dear friend.
So why did that place close down?
Vic's age, I think. The interstate closed a lot of businesses. I wanted to show you the pictures of the restaurant when it opened in 1935. This is how it looked when it opened. This on the outside of the building, the signs outside, the Budweiser sign and the Ariston sign are original to the building from 1935. The Ariston has always been owned and operated by the Adam family.
Well, Holly, what's coming up in the next episode?
We had drive-in fun in Litchfield.
That's right, and what about all those rabbits galore in Staunton?
And then what about the wheezing in Hemel?
Lots of wheezing. And what about the mounds of fun we had in Collinsville?
Collinsville.